World War I was not just a war fought on battlefields. It was a turning point that reshaped the entire modern world. It began in Fay and lasted until Fay, drawing in the world's greatest powers and leaving behind devastation on an unprecedented scale. To understand why this war started and why its aftermath mattered so deeply, we must look at the tensions that had been building for decades before. The first shot was ever fired. The causes of World War I, the outbreak of World War I, did not happen overnight. Historians often summarize its causes using four key factors: militarism and nationalism. First, militarism. European powers had spent years building massive armies and navies. Military strength became a symbol of national pride, and war was increasingly seen as an acceptable tool of foreign policy. Second, alliances. By the early 20th century, Europe was divided into two major alliance systems. On one side stood the Triple Entente, Britain, France, and Russia. On the other was the Triple Alliance, Germany, Austria, Hungary, and Italy. These alliances were meant to preserve peace, but instead they guaranteed that a small conflict could quickly grow into a global war. Third, imperialism. European nations competed fiercely for colonies and resources across Africa and Asia. This rivalry increased mistrust and hostility, especially between Germany and Britain. Finally, nationalism. In many regions, ethnic groups demanded independence or greater power. This was especially true in the Balkans, where tensions were extremely high. The spark, assassination in Sarajevo, the immediate trigger of World War I, came on the 28th of June 1914. Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, was assassinated in Sarajevo by a Serbian nationalist. Austria-Hungary blamed Serbia and issued an ultimatum with harsh demands. When Serbia rejected some of these demands, Austria-Hungary declared war. What followed was a chain reaction. Russia mobilized to defend Serbia. Germany declared war on Russia and France. When German forces invaded Belgium, Britain entered the war. Within weeks, Europe was fully engulfed in conflict. The nature of the World War I quickly became a war unlike any before it. On the Western Front, trench warfare dominated. Soldiers lived in muddy trenches for months, facing constant danger from artillery, machine guns, poison gas, and disease. Battles like Verdun and the Somme resulted in millions of casualties, often for only a few miles of land. On the Eastern Front, fighting was more fluid but just as brutal. Meanwhile, the war spread beyond Europe to the Middle East, Africa, and Asia, turning it into a truly global conflict. New technologies changed warfare forever. Machine guns, tanks, submarines, and aircraft made combat deadlier than ever before. The United States enters the war for most of the war. The United States remained neutral. However, German submarine attacks on civilian ships, along with the Zimmermann telegram, pushed America to intervene. In 1917, the United States entered the war on the side of the Allies. Fresh American troops and resources shifted the balance of power, exhausting Germany and its allies. By the 11th of November 1918, Germany agreed to an armistice. The fighting had finally ended. The aftermath of World War I was devastating. More than 16 million people were dead, and entire regions lay in ruins. Empires collapsed. The German Empire, Austro-Hungarian Empire, Ottoman Empire, and Russian Empire all fell apart. In 1919, world leaders met to shape the post-war order. The result was the Treaty of Versailles. Germany was forced to accept full blame for the war, lose territory, reduce its military, and pay massive reparations. These harsh conditions created deep resentment and economic hardship inside Germany. New nations were formed in Europe and the Middle East, but